Hello, welcome to Healthy Cooking for Food Lovers. My name is Marie-France Garon. Today we're gonna make the Greek moussaka. So I'm excited about that because this is one of my favorite dishes and I love making it. It's not that complicated, you will see. I don't do anything complicated. And so let's start with the moussaka. Now, some people like to use potato, and of course there's always the eggplant, the aubergine in the moussaka. But for me today, I'm only using the eggplant. We're just gonna make some slice. So we cut the two ends like that, and then we're gonna make some slices. And I'm just gonna take one small one off like this, but I'll leave the skin. This is how I like to do it. And we make some slices, not too thin, not too thick, 1 centimeter maybe, something like that. Just slices like this, and then we're gonna spread them all on our pan here. So I'll just continue that a little bit after, just to show you what we do. So I've got one ready already here. Maybe there's gonna put the salt. So what does it do? You put salt here on the eggplant, quite a bit of salt. Let that sit like this, just like that, for about 15 minutes. So here are our eggplant, and they are ready, just about ready to go into the oven. So in the moussaka recipe, sometimes some people like to fry them in the pan. I find we use a little bit less oil if you just cook them in the oven with olive oil still, but a little bit less oil. But first of all, I just cut them and put all the salt on top, and you can see here, if you have a look a bit closer, that they have been sweating out. We can see that there's little bit of water that's come out of them. That's because I put the salt. So what we're gonna do is just press the paper towel on top, just like that, to take just a little bit of the salt. So I'm putting the olive oil on top here, just a little bit all over, and just some oil everywhere. We'll send that in the oven while we prepare our meat. So what I feel like doing but is to just make sure that the oil is all over. So we'll do that like 15 to 20 minutes there in the oven for the eggplant. Now we're ready to cook our meat and our sauce for the moussaka. So of course it starts with the olive oil, and this pan is already warming up. So we've got hot pan here with the olive oil, and in goes our meat. I've got about 1 kilo here of meat, and it will all cook. Now this meat needs to be really cooked really well before we add the onions and before we add our sauce. And the reason why it was explained is that we don't want our onion to be extra cooked. We want them to be like steamed in that sauce, but the meat needs to be really cooked really well before we add the other ingredients. So we will be cooking this meat for, might take about 10 minutes to have it really cooked really well, and then we'll start adding the rest of the ingredients after. So while this is starting to brown a little bit, we're gonna add our salt and pepper here. Lots of salt, very tasty. So salt and pepper here for the meat to brown. So now this meat has been cooking for, I think it's 20 minutes that it's been going on, and now you can have a look and see how we have some really well cooked meat here. That's all is in there, the meat and salt, pepper. That's all is in here at the moment, and because there's so much moisture coming out of the meat, we don't want that moisture into our sauce. So we have to wait until it starts to grill a little bit at the bottom of the pan. So the first thing I'm gonna add is the spices, because we want to cook the spices a little bit. So a quarter of a teaspoon of nutmeg, and half a teaspoon of cinnamon, a big half a teaspoon. I love the cinnamon taste in the moussaka. So we're gonna cook the spices here a little bit before adding the rest of the ingredients. So because it's just the flavor is all going to go through this meat, and it's just going to be so delicious. So here is our meat. Now our other spices are, I've got 4 bay leaves, I've got parsley, I've got thyme in here, basil, and of course oregano. All in, all the spices. Mix that up a little bit. And we're gonna add the wine, about 1 cup of wine, and also some tomato paste, maybe half of this can here, about half of it, tomato paste. So we're gonna start cooking that a little bit now, and we're gonna add our tomato sauce to this. Oh, smells delicious. So here it's ready and all cooking, and we're gonna add all our onions because we want them to be steamed here. So onion and garlic, and it's gonna all simmer together. And we're gonna put our tomato sauce and leave that aside for about 40 minutes. It's gonna simmer here, and while this is going, we're gonna prepare our bechamel. That's a topping for your moussaka, and so that's very, very simple. If you've never done a bechamel, you'll see that it's just so easy. So we're gonna let that go for just about 40 minutes, and have a look how it's going, and we'll go and do our bechamel. Now we're gonna prepare our bechamel sauce. That's gonna be on top of the moussaka, and bechamel is so easy to do. If you haven't done bechamel yet, you will after this, because you will see how simple it is. Now I'm just cutting this butter. I have 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of flour. It's always the same quantity depending of how much bechamel sauce you want. Same quantity of butter and same quantity of flour. I see my butter is melting already, and I will show you. So we just want to see a little bit of simmer, and we don't want to hear any sound from that pot here. So see the butter is melting beautifully here. So I can just already add my flour already here. All in, 1 cup of butter, 1 cup of flour. We want this bechamel to be quite thick. We want to make sure that we cook this flour properly with the butter before we start adding our milk, because we don't want to taste the flour. It's perfect, it's perfect. So if we have a look in this pot, you will see that it's a bit jammed, but it's okay. That's how it should be. So we're gonna let that cook. What I have to do at the end of the recipe here is I need to add some egg yolks, and I'll show you how to separate your eggs. I mean, it's not that hard, but just know how to do it. You just mix it like that from one side to the other, and that's how it goes, and that's how you get only the yolk. We'll put it here for now. And the next one, just cut your egg and start mixing from one side to the other. And here we are, we have our egg yolks for the end. Start whisking those egg yolk here, just a little bit. And I'll add not quite a quarter of a teaspoon of nutmeg. Just a small amount of nutmeg here with the egg yolk, and that will go at the end in our bechamel. Here we are, this is ready. Okay. So this is all happening. This is all cooking, and it's like a glue. Flour has cooked enough, and we're gonna start adding our milk. So I have 2 cups of milk here, but I will just put just most of it, and we're just gonna see the consistency that we want to have. I think I will need at least that 2 cup, even maybe a little bit more, but by the looks of it, I think 2 cups of milk here will be very nice consistency. Salt, very, very, very important here. Yeah, lots of salt. We're gonna put some pepper as well. And here we have to watch because it's gonna get thicker, and we have to keep mixing it. So the bechamel, it has to be quite thick to go on top of our moussaka, but some different recipes we can make it quite light. So of course you vary your quantity, but always the same quantity of butter and flour, always, and then depending how much milk you want, so that will make it just a little bit thicker or less. Some Parmesan cheese, and we have our egg yolk, and this can go in a nice omelette later that we can make. So here we are, we have our egg and we have our Parmesan cheese that's gonna go in the bechamel. We have our beautiful bechamel. It's really nice and thick. And then we're gonna add the egg yolk first. Now you want to get ready to mix immediately. That's gonna make it even more creamy, the egg yolk. And just a little bit of Parmesan. Do a little bunch like that, maybe a quarter of a cup. And here in the pot, we don't need to put it back on the heat. You see how this is really, really thick, and that's what we want for the moussaka. Here we are ready to finish our moussaka. All the eggplants have been cooked in the oven, and now I put them in the dish ready to go. So all light on the bottom of the dish here, the overlay, that's fine. You just put everything that you have, and now all of this is going on top. All of that beautiful sauce here is going here, all in. Oh. And now our bechamel. So we're gonna put all of this bechamel on top here. We finish with the Parmesan on top. Lots of Parmesan on top. And voila! Moussaka will go into the oven at 350 Fahrenheit, which is actually 200 Celsius. And voila, we have our moussaka. Now, it stayed in the oven for 30 minutes finally. After that, I thought it was ready. So 30 minutes. And it's been resting now for nearly 2 hours because you cannot cut it immediately, even if you're very tempted, because it's not gonna stick together, so it needs to sit for a little bit. So now we're cutting and we'll see what's inside. So I'll just go this way. Even after it sits in the fridge, that would even be better because we'll be able to cut a nice square piece. But now, let's see. We have a beautiful meat and this topping here. Just take a little bit with this one. Oh, I see the eggplant here. It's all coming together. And what you know? Yeah. Oh, this is very good. I'm really pleased. I would like it to be a little bit more firm, but that needs a little bit more waiting so we can cut a nice piece. But the taste is beautiful. So here we are, the Greek moussaka. Bon appétit!